Life's a funny thing, isn't it? It's like this river. Sometimes it's all calm and smooth. Other times it's a raging current, a whirlpool trying to suck you under. And then out of nowhere, it just veers, takes a turn you never saw coming. There are these moments, these little decisions you make, things that seem so insignificant, so tiny you forget them almost as soon as they happen. Those are the pebbles, man. The pebbles that can shift the whole damn course of your destiny. I've got a story like that, one that, even now, nearly a decade later, still gives me chills when I think about it. The sheer magic of it, and yeah, a little bit of embarrassment too for how clueless I was back then, but mostly, it's gratitude. This deep, settled gratitude that stuck with me all these years. It all kicked off late one fall afternoon. The type of day, gray, a bit damp, the kind that just seeps into your bones and makes everything feel a little meh. I was 23? Fresh out of college, or freshly unemployed as I like to call it. Had my diploma, a decent one in information technology, and a head full of million-dollar startup ideas, dreams of changing the world. Sounds impressive, right? Yeah, well, life ain't the inspirational novel you read before bed. It's a lot more brutal. For over 6 months, man, 6 long months, I was on the job hunt grind. Felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall. Sent out resumes like confetti to the big corporations, the tiny startups I'd never even heard of. And what did I get back? Crickets. Absolute deafening silence. Or worse, those soul-crushing template rejection emails. We regret to inform you. God, I had that line memorized. Every time that subject line popped up on my ancient laptop screen, my stomach would just clench. That feeling of being useless, a burden to my folks, it gnawed at me, day in, day out. My savings were dwindling faster than ice cream on a summer sidewalk. Rent was looming. My daily menu had pretty much shrunk to ramen noodles and the occasional egg if I was feeling fancy. My mom, back home, she'd call sometimes, always trying to sound cheerful, upbeat, My boy's so smart, you just keep trying, everything will work out. And I just mumble, yeah, Mom, sure, trying to make her feel better, but inside, I felt like I was drowning in this huge, empty ocean. No lifeline in sight. Work out. Right. Work out how I was going to afford next week's groceries, maybe. So that particular afternoon, I just couldn't take being cooped up in my tiny, depressing apartment anymore. Needed some air, a change of scenery, even if it was just temporary. I just wandered. No real destination in mind, just walking, my head a mess of anxiety and self-doubt. People rushed past me on the street, all looking like they had somewhere important to be, a purpose. And then there was me, just adrift. I ended up in front of a Price Right Mart. Yeah, the name pretty much screams budget, doesn't it? But for a guy with a wallet as thin as mine, it was practically a 5-star resort. I went in, not looking for a miracle, just more ramen. The official cuisine of the chronically unemployed. The air inside the supermarket was stuffy. That weird mix of stale food, cleaning supplies, and just general daily anxieties. I grabbed a few essentials, then headed for the checkout. The line wasn't even that long, but it felt like it was moving in slow motion. Maybe it was just me, my mood. There was only one person ahead of me, an old lady. She was small, her back a little stooped, her silver hair pulled back neatly in a bun. She was putting her items on the conveyor belt, a carton of milk, a few apples, a loaf of sandwich bread, a small box of tea, simple things, everyday necessities. The cashier, a young girl who looked like she'd had a long day herself, started ringing them up. I could hear the beeps, and then I saw the old lady's face. She looked anxious. The cashier read out the total. I didn't catch the exact amount, but from the old lady's expression, I knew something was wrong. She looked up, her voice a little shaky, and asked the cashier to repeat it. The cashier, probably used to this or just tired, said the amount again, a little louder, a little less patient. The old lady's face fell. She started fumbling in her worn-out purse, trying to find a few more coins, but it was no use. She looked at the items on the belt, then at the money in her hand, and this look of sheer helplessness, a touch of despair, crossed her face. She started to put things back. The milk first, then she hesitated over the apples. That look in her eyes, man, it got to me. It wasn't just about not having enough money. It was about dignity. An elderly woman having to pick and choose basic groceries in front of everyone, it just felt wrong. The people behind me in line were starting to get restless. A sigh here, a tap of a foot there. I get it, everyone's in a hurry. But in that moment, all I could feel was for her. My own mom came to mind. She worked hard her whole life, scrimped and saved. What if that was her, standing there, embarrassed and flustered? The thought I couldn't just stand there. Now, I wasn't exactly rolling in dough myself. Let's be honest, I was flat broke. The cash in my wallet was supposed to last me a few more days, at least. A couple of bucks back then was a big deal for me. My head was screaming, dude, you're struggling too, worry about yourself. But my heart, it was doing something else. It was saying, it's just a little, man. You can help. So, I took a step forward. Excuse me, ma'am, I said to the old lady, trying to keep my voice gentle, not wanting to embarrass her more. Then to the cashier, how much is she short? I can cover it. The cashier looked up, surprised. The old lady turned, her eyes wide, a little watery. Oh no, dear, you don't have to. I can just put some things back. I don't want to trouble you. Her voice was trembling, full of that polite, old-fashioned reluctance. It's no trouble at all, ma'am, I said, trying for a reassuring smile. It's not much. Consider it a treat on me. I pulled out the last $5 bill I had, a little crumpled, and handed it to the cashier. The change was negligible. The cashier's expression softened a bit. Maybe she was touched, or maybe just relieved the line could move again. The old lady, she grabbed my hand. Her hand was frail but surprisingly warm. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, young man. You're a good boy. God bless you and your family. She kept repeating it, her voice choked with emotion. I just smiled, mumbled something like, you're welcome, and helped her bag her groceries. I watched her walk away slowly, her back still a little bent, and for the first time in a long time, I felt good. A warmth spread through me, a rare positive feeling in those gloomy days. I paid for my ramen, my wallet now containing only a few loose coins, but strangely, I didn't regret it, not one bit. There was this lightness, a sense of peace. I walked out of the supermarket, the drizzle still in the air. Kindness, I guess, is the only thing in the world that makes you feel richer when you give it away. I went back to my tiny apartment, back to the soul-crushing routine of job applications, quick phone screenings, and vague promises. The incident at the supermarket faded from my mind, just another small moment in a sea of worries. I never imagined that little gust of wind would bring a hurricane that would turn my whole life upside down. 3 weeks, 3 long, agonizing weeks, dragged by since that rainy afternoon at the Price Right Mart. My life was still stuck in neutral. The rejection emails kept piling up. Hope was wearing thin. I was seriously considering giving up on my tech dreams, maybe finding some manual labor job just to pay the bills. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I was just a dreamer, chasing a fantasy. Then, one evening, I was about to call it another hopeless day, ready to shut down my laptop, when a new email popped up. The subject line made my heart stop. Asterisk, asterisk, interview invitation, Tech Solutions Inc. Tech Solutions. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I was seeing things. This was the company, one of the top tech firms in the country, a place filled with brilliant minds, a place I'd only applied to on a whim, a last-ditch effort before throwing in the towel. I never ever thought I'd actually hear back. I read and reread that email, every single word. They were actually inviting me for an interview for a software developer position, the exact role I'd been dreaming of. I jumped up like a kid on Christmas morning. All the exhaustion, the despair from the past few months, it just vanished. A tiny spark of hope, but it was enough to light up my whole dark world. I threw myself into prep mode, dusted off my old textbooks, researched tech solutions like my life depended on it, their projects, their company culture, everything. I even practiced answering interview questions in front of the mirror. Asterisk. Alex grins sheepishly. Asterisk. Looked like a total idiot, I'm sure, but I didn't care. This was my shot, maybe my only shot, and I was gonna grab it with both hands. Interview day. I woke up before my alarm, heart pounding like a drum. I put on my best suit, well, my only suit, the one I bought as a student, hoping to wear it on my first day at a real job. I got to the Tech Solutions headquarters half an hour early. The building was intimidating, all glass and steel soaring into the sky. The lobby was huge, sleek, filled with sharp, professional-looking people. I suddenly felt very small, very out of place. That old self-doubt started creeping back in. Do I even belong here? A friendly receptionist with a warm smile led me to a conference room on the 25th floor. The room was spacious, with a panoramic view of the city. 3 people were sitting behind a massive oak desk. The woman in the middle, she was the one running the show, I could tell. Mid-40s, maybe, with a stylish short black haircut that framed a face that was both sharp and kind. Her eyes, when she looked at me as I walked in, were analytical but not unkind. I figured she was the HR director. The other 2, a man and a woman, looked a bit older, probably department heads. The woman with the short hair smiled. "Hello, Alex. Thanks for coming in. I'm Mrs. Miller, Director of Human Resources. This is Mr. Harrison, Head of Engineering, and Miss Davis, Lead Project Developer." I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. "Good morning. I'm Alex. It's a pleasure to be here." The interview started. They asked about my resume, my college projects, my technical skills. I tried to answer clearly, logically, giving specific examples. Some questions were tough, really made me think on my feet, but I did my best. Mrs. Miller mostly listened, nodding occasionally, jotting things down in her notebook. Mr. Harrison and Miss Davis drilled me on the technical stuff, sometimes even having a quick, hushed debate about my answers. The atmosphere was intense, but professional. It went on for almost an hour. I'd answered everything they threw at me, from basic concepts to complex problem-solving scenarios. I thought I'd done okay. At least I'd shown them what I was capable of. Just when I thought it was wrapping up, Mrs. Miller looked up, her gaze different now. Not just professional assessment, but curious and almost personal. "Alex," she began, her voice softer now, "do you happen to shop at the Price Right Mart downtown very often?" The question threw me completely. Price Right Mart? What did that have to do with anything? My heart started hammering in my chest. A vague unease settled in. I tried to keep my composure. Yes ma'am, sometimes, when I need to pick up a few groceries or essentials." Mrs. Miller smiled, faintly. A strange, unreadable smile. "Well, about 3 weeks ago, on a drizzly afternoon, did you by any chance help an elderly lady pay for her groceries there?" I froze. 3 weeks ago, rainy afternoon, old lady, Price Right Mart. That incident, how could she possibly know? Was I on some hidden camera show? Was this some bizarre corporate character test? 1,000 paranoid thoughts raced through my mind. I tried to keep my voice even. Yes, ma'am. I vaguely recall there was an older woman who was a little short on her bill. But how did you know about that? The smile on Mrs. Miller's lips widened. Her eyes, when she looked at me now, weren't those of an interviewer sizing up a candidate, but of someone familiar, warm. That elderly woman, she paused a dramatic beat, was my mother, Alex. Your mother? I stammered, struggling to process it. The room seemed to spin. Even the air conditioning unit seemed to go quiet. The mother of this powerful HR director? The little frail old lady I'd helped at a discount supermarket? What in the world was happening? Mrs. Miller nodded, her eyes still fixed on me, full of a gentle kindness. Yes. That day, my mother came home, and she couldn't stop talking about a kind young man who'd helped her when she was in a tight spot. She didn't remember your name clearly, just that you had dark curly hair, an old blue backpack, and a very sweet smile. My mother was deeply touched. She said, in that moment of embarrassment and a little bit of shame, your kindness was like a ray of sunshine. She was so very grateful. I just sat there, my heart a wild bird in my chest, speechless. Mrs. Miller continued, when I was going through the hundreds of applications, your name, Alex Tran, along with a few details in your personal experience section. Something just clicked with what my mother had described. And when you walked in here today, I was almost certain it was you. That face, that smile. She paused, taking a deep breath. Alex, as you know, Tech Solutions is always looking for talented individuals with strong technical skills. Your resume and your performance today show that you clearly meet those requirements. But, she emphasized, her voice gaining a new weight, we also look for something else, something perhaps even more important than lines of code or complex algorithms. We look for character, for kindness, for empathy, and a willingness to help others without expecting anything in return. Those are the core values we've built Tech Solutions upon. A week later, I was an official employee of Tech Solutions. The work environment was amazing. My colleagues were friendly and supportive, and the job itself was challenging and exactly what I'd always wanted. My life had taken a complete 180. No more ramen dinners, no more rent worries. But more than anything, I learned an invaluable lesson about kindness and the incredible, unexpected ways it can ripple through the world. Sometimes, on weekends, I'd go visit Mrs. Miller's mother, Mrs. Albright, as I respectfully called her. We'd sit and have tea and cookies, and she'd tell me stories about her youth, about the hardships she'd faced. She told me that my small act that day had reminded her that even when life feels tough, kindness and decency between people are still the most precious things. Her encouragement, her simple wisdom, it really helped me through those first few overwhelming weeks at the new job. Even now, almost 10 years on, whenever I think back to that story, I still feel this incredible warmth. One small act of kindness, born from genuine empathy, with no thought of reward, had triggered such a massive turning point. It didn't just give me a dream job, it gave me back my faith in people, in the simple, beautiful goodness that exists in the world. So, yeah, if you ever find yourself thinking life's too harsh, if you're ever hesitant, French, about doing something good because you're afraid it'll cost you, or it's too much trouble, just remember my story. Kindness is like a seed. You plant it, maybe you forget about it, but one day it'll sprout, grow tall, and bear the most unexpected, wonderful fruit. Never ever hesitate to offer a little bit of kindness, no matter how small it seems. Because you truly never know where that little act will lead, or what unexpected dividends it might bring into someone's life, or even your own. Trust me on that. It's a powerful, powerful thing.